We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
The case against former President Donald Trump in Georgia has taken a rather peculiar turn with a recent filing by Mr. Michael Roman. We're very fortunate to have with us Scott DeCosenza, Liberty Nation's legal affairs editor, host of the excellent Uprising podcast, and a man who I've sprung this very topic on not 10 minutes ago and asked him to be an expert for me. So any confusion is my fault, not his. Scott, welcome back to the show.
Well, with that lead in, how can we go wrong, Mark? Cheers.
We're bound to go wrong. We're bound to go wrong in this. Now, I've been looking at this all morning, this case in Georgia, this filing in Georgia. And essentially, it seems to me that Mr. Roman, through his lawyers, are claiming that the Fulton County District Attorney, Fani Willis, who, correct me if I'm wrong here, is the person behind the prosecution of Donald Trump in Georgia. Without her, there wouldn't be a prosecution. Is that right to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
She has decided by herself to prosecute Donald Trump and then took the steps to do it. And she has the power to because of her position. And that's exactly right.
Okay, so this filing today on behalf of Mr. Roman, who is a fellow, he is not a co-defendant, but he's a fellow criminal defendant under the same indictment that Donald Trump is regarding election machinations, I guess, during 2020.
Part of the same gang of Confederates who...
Sure. And this will be... Here's some foreshadowing for you. Under the same RICO Act. Let's keep that in mind. There's some foreshadowing there for our listeners. So anyway, it's being alleged that she is engaging in an affair with the special prosecutor who is prosecuting the case, Mr. Nathan Wade. Now, we
feathered his nest and hers with money that she gets to dispense for work performed on the prosecution's behalf.
Exactly right. That's the crux of the issue. Well, that's one of the cruxes of the issue.
Right.
Like,
and then there's another one.
Can you have two
Right.
cruxes? Cruxapodes, if it's a fourth declination Latin noun. So you have this first thing where it alleges that she's materially benefiting because they're taking trips to the Caribbean together, holidays, things like this.
The numbers are staggering. The guy's making like 30 grand a month off this prosecution is basically what the numbers look like.
Yeah, I believe it's somewhere in the region of $600,000 to $700,000 so far. Now, I should point out that the budget for Fulton County District Office altogether, I think, is about $30 million. So that gives you an idea that this is an actual percentage of the money, right? This is a significant percentage.
Mark, you
of
say
the
that
money.
like getting Donald Trump is somehow lesser than prosecuting all the murderers, thieves, and rapists in Fulton County. You know, this is a political decision that the people of the Fulton County Judicial District have made, that they want personnel in office who does whatever they can to get Donald Trump, and the law be damned, and their own physical safety and the prosecution of criminals in their area be damned. Getting Trump is where that office has put all of its efforts and principal efforts and spending, and that's what they're getting.
It appears that they might not end up very happy with it. So I've been looking into all these things. So the first allegation here is that she's essentially benefiting. Is it called like a good
Mark,
faith benefit?
I want to interrupt you just to make a point very explicitly, because I kind of alluded to it, but I want to be as clear as I can. It's totally improper for any prosecutor, whether they are trying to enforce some kind of abortion ban across state lines for somebody who's not in their district, for instance, or to prosecute Donald Trump, whether it's for the emoluments cause in Washington, D.C., or this charge in Georgia, that these prosecutors don't attend to the real needs of the prosecutions in their district. They need people to put away and do a good job with charging the people who've committed crimes in their districts. And it's so much harder to do that, right? To really do the good, hard work of prosecuting cases rather than to make political points and then be celebrated on the national political circuit of whatever group that you're a part of.
Absolutely. I mean, there's I don't think anybody's kidding themselves that Miss Willis is aiming for a higher office somewhere down the line. Now, let's get into the weeds a little bit on this. So, not only is there the allegation of financial impropriety here, there's also, I mean, it actually goes much deeper. So, I think a lot of people could imagine, well, they're both consenting adults. All right, we get that. But it's the suit alleges that Mr. Wade's appointment was not approved by the Fulton Board of Commissioners. Now, this is in the filing. I don't know if that's true or not. However, it would appear to be an outlandishly brazen attempt to say that it wasn't approved and then find out that it was.
Yeah. I would say that. So when I read the complaint, which I have skimmed through, it does not produce a great deal of facts that are verifiable about the impropriety that's alleged. It's a lot of rumor and innuendo, which may represent facts that are in existence or may represent just merely rumor and innuendo, which is why we look scantly on rumor and innuendo when we evaluate these claims. I think that the claim that he wasn't somehow approved by this board seems tangential to me. And the reason why it seems tangential, Mark, is because in all my experience, in every area where there's an elected prosecutor, like here, that prosecutor may, at their discretion, appoint deputies to conduct prosecutions. And so,
Scott, you know what? I absolutely agree with you. However, I do want to play devil's advocate on this, if I may. It is down to the discretion of the person in charge of the case. However, it seems that there are people within the Georgia district who specialize in prosecuting RICO cases. They actually have people who are, this is what they do. And so then
let me just put Mr. Wade, I don't know that you've explained it exactly right for people. I just want to make sure that they understand what the complaint alleges. The point that you're making is that they basically took a newbie, a guy who doesn't know how to prosecute and RICO is Racketeer Influence Corrupt Organizations Act, which is a very complex. First of all, that's the name of the federal legislation that the Georgia legislation was modeled after, but it's still called the same thing. It's a complex way to prosecute basically mafia families and gangs. That's why it was implemented, because the people at the tops of those organizations were hard to get to if their underlings didn't testify against them, basically. So that's the thing used against Trump. It is a complicated way to prosecute someone. You wouldn't give that against the former president of the United States with international focus on the prosecution to a neophyte, a person who doesn't know that cold, right? So it does make sense to say, why is this being done here? And to me, Mark, that is evidence that she acted inappropriately, meaning for her own pecuniary interest, right? For her own money gain, or to help out her friend who then lavishes gifts on her. Where the complaint talks about Caribbean cruises and international travel. So, but the act itself of appointing someone who hasn't received the approval of this other thing, which is the entree to this charge of inappropriateness, I don't see that as likely holding a significant amount of water because of the ability for these attorneys, these prosecuting attorneys, to have deputies who perform their prosecution function.
Yeah, I guess that's the point I was trying to really make there, that it signifies something to have somebody who does not have experience to prosecute.
It's evidence of the corruption. Yeah. Absolutely right. Yeah. It's like, and you gave this job to a guy who shouldn't have been given the job. It's one thing if she said, yeah, listen, I fooled around with the guy, but he's my number one ace in the whole prosecutor. Like, even though that is inappropriate, okay, for her to have, personal sexual relationship with one of her direct reports like that, you can at least see, at least she's applying the best, best resources of her office to this problem. But you don't even get that. Instead, you get a political prosecution driven not by the best interests of the citizens of the Fulton County Judicial District, but also poorly done in order for the purpose of feathering her nest and her friend's nest. That's the crux of the complaint.
And we'll see how that plays out as and when the judge responds. Scott DeCasenta, thanks very much. We will be back with Scott after this short break discussing Donald Trump's potential immunity. Don't go anywhere. We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
Don't get caught up in the media madness. Join our movement for free thinking and free speech at libertynation.com. Publishing news and analysis 24/7 with original articles by our team of authors who tell it like it is. Join us each week for online TV shows, The Uprising Podcast, and Liberty Nation Radio. We believe in free thinking and free speech. We are libertynation.com.